Lucy has been one of the 5 units getting changes to their additional core skill with Zenless Zone Zeros Season 2, and with that I thought it is about time for an updated guide for our favorite tsundere, as there have been many changes since I did the last one. So let's talk about her kit and how she plays, her best weapons, disk drives and disk drive sets, her combos, her main and substats, her teams and Mindscapes, and lastly, let's also talk about her pros and cons. Welcome! I am Rivenous and this is your complete updated guide to Luciana Oxethes Theodoro de Montefio. Or in short Lucy, cause hell nah, I ain't saying her full name every time. Lucy is a fire-type support who excels at providing team-wide buffs without taking much field time, while also being easily accessible for free-to-play players, and she is easy to build as well. She also doesn't come alone, but with 3 cute boar tyrants named Grassy, Woody and Bricky, who will continue to attack our foes with slingshots, baseball bats and their fists while Lucy is off field. Let's cover her kit to understand better how she works. Fortunately for us, we can boil down her kit into something simple. Using her special or EX special for the very first time, Lucy will summon the guard boars. The guard boars inherit Lucy's attack, impact and anomaly proficiency, and when another character of the same attribute or faction, or now also a rupture character is in the team, the guard boars will also inherit Lucy's crit rate and crit damage. Casting her EX special after the launched guard boar has found its unfortunate demise, it will apply the cheer on buff to all allies. This applies not only to your agents but also to the Bangbu and the guard boars themselves. Cheer on increases the attack by up to a maximum of 600 based on Lucy's attack plus 104, well, depending on the skill level that is. It lasts for 10 or 15 seconds depending on whether or not the cast EX special has been a line drive or fly ball respectively. Holding her EX special pressed will launch a fly ball with a short press launching the line drive. The fly ball has a longer animation but also inflicts just slightly more damage, daze and anomaly than the line drive does, but the difference is just so small that I would not bother using a fly ball. Which also means just tap her EX special. Due to her core passive, the cheer on buff also has a 200% effectiveness on the boars and they will have their attack frequency increased as well while buffed with cheer on. Let's skip her normal basic attacks, dodge, dodge counter, dash attack, chain attack, special, quick assist and assist follow up because you will either never use them or they do exactly what they are supposed to do. Actually, never mind, I wanna do a quick mention about her basic attacks, simply for the sake of completion. Because she has an alternative basic 3, her basic string might not be super understandable at first, because she actually has 2 basic attack strings, with her first one being basic 1 and 2 into basic 3, with the B3 actually being the one where she jumps up and obliterates her boar mid-air. Her basic 4 comes afterwards and is the enhanced fire attack where she swings twice, and that one can be followed up by her alternative version of her basic 3. This makes her full basic string basic 1 and 2 into basic 3 into basic 4 into alternative basic 3 into basic 4 into alternative basic 3 and so on and so forth. This basically results in 3 permanently spinning boars and you can continue with an infinite loop of B4 into alternative basic 3 afterwards. However, please note that any dodges, dash attacks or similar will interrupt and reset her combo, having you restart from her basic 1. Speaking of the spinning boars already, let's cover them because they are part of her basic attack as well. They will deal physical damage, but they do not inherit Lucy's physical damage bonus, and hence if you thought about using physical damage bonus in slot 5 for her, I am sorry to disappoint you. The boars will randomly swap between using one of 3 weapons of various strength every few seconds, and regardless of which one they use, they do look absolutely adorable. When Lucy inflicts damage with the 4th hit of her basic attack string, as I already have mentioned earlier, all boars will use their special ability Spinning Swing, which basically just turns them into Garen for 2 seconds. Unfortunately for us, while the boars' spinning swings have great damage multipliers, on-fielding Lucy is kinda just not that good, and that means we will rarely if ever see the spin to win, is what I would say if we are talking about M0 Lucy. Her Mindscape 6 however triggers the spinning swing as well, and hence we will actually see it for quite a bit. Her Boars can also not be buffed by the likes of Rena, which is just something I wanted to mention here. To finish off her kit, her ultimate does damage and restores 10 energy to all squad members. It will also trigger a quick assist, and the character swapping in using said quick assist gains an additional 20 energy. It is to be noted, it does not restore adrenaline, only energy. As for her skill priority, we want to prioritize her core and EX special, then her basics and chain, into assist, and lastly into dodge. Because her damage is not as relevant in the grand scheme of things, maxing her core and EX special is the highest priority, as her core gives her base attack and her EX special scales the cheer on buff. Before we talk about her weapons, disk drive sets, main and substats, let's clarify how much attack you need to get the full actual 600 attack buff from her EX. At skill level 12, we are looking at a total scaling of 22.6% plus 88, which means we need to hit at least 2265 attack, and if you have her at Mindscape 6, which to be fair you will have at some point, and hence also skill level 16, we only require a total of 1922 attack. Both of these values are really easily achievable, which allows us to focus more on crit values as our Boars will want to inherit them. Having that said, let's talk about her combos and how we actually play Lucy. Fortunately for us, she is really easy to play. Her entire combo essentially boils down to switch her in, use her EX special, then switch her out. For optimal effectiveness, we want to do all of this before the enemy stun window, since her buff lasts long enough, especially after Mindscape 6. We can do so with either a defensive assist, which results in a simple combo of parry into assist follow-up into EX special, or a simple quick assist into EX special. If we are running out of buff up time, a simple switch in into EX special works as well. We want to make sure to only tap her EX, and if her ultimate is up, we can immediately cast that one as well, which allows us to bridge a little bit of time until the Boars hit. I do want to reiterate that holding her EX special for a fly ball is not necessarily a good idea. The boar from the fly ball needs a surprisingly long time until it hits the enemy, and only after doing so it will actually trigger the quick assist, which wastes a lot of time and is especially bad when using a 4-piece Astral Voice. And with that, let's talk about her weapons. Unfortunately, the Boars are separate entities and hence do not trigger Weeping Cradle's effect, and they also do not inherit the pen ratio either. This makes Weeping Cradle kind of a bad choice for her. On the other hand, her signature weapon Kaboom is probably the best support Vengeance in the game, not only on her but also many other supports, only potentially rivaled by Unfettered Game Ball. Providing up to 16% combat attack and energy regeneration, this weapon is her best choice, as she is able to provide the full 16% to the team at all times. If you do not have Kaboom but for some reason own an Elegant Vanity, that is a fine option as well. Her Boars cannot trigger Unfettered Game Ball's effect either, but if you're playing her against a fire weak enemy, that is a good choice as well. Just make sure to deal fire damage at least once every 12 seconds. You can do so either by weaving in a quick special once in a while or using assist follow-ups as well as her obvious EX special or ultimate. Against physical enemies, I guess you could play her and just weave in a basic attack once in a while. Regardless, please keep in mind these calculations are for her only and not for the team. When looking at a more common team scenario such as Evelynn, Lytra and Lucy, Game Ball can win out just by a small margin, but that also requires basically no crit rate substats on Evelynn whatsoever, which is frankly super unrealistic. Generally speaking, Kaboom is the best and safest choice, but depending on your team, substats and obviously also enemy lineup and their resistance, an Unfettered Game Ball can actually be quite good and might even come out ahead. As for her disk drive sets, she actually has quite a few options. For her 4-piece choice, either a Swing Jazz, a Protopunk, Astral Voice or even Freedom Blues are all valid choices. Use Freedom Blues if you are playing her in an anomaly team and need the additional anomaly build-up resistance shred for, well, higher build-up. If you are less of a sweaty player, both Swing Jazz and Protopunk are safe choices on her, with Swing Jazz being slightly better due to the two-piece effect actually being usable on her. Astral Voice can outperform all three of them, but maintaining the buff is not as easy as the other ones. For the two-piece options, anything between Swing Jazz, Astral Voice, Hormone Punk, Woodpecker, Freedom Blues, Shockstar Disco or even Chaos Jazz will do their job. Use Freedom Blues or Chaos Jazz for anomaly teams, Shockstar Disco if you know exactly what you are doing and need the additional impact for one more stun window, and Astral Voice or Hormone Punk if you're short on attack for her buff. Woodpecker is the best damage option, with Swing Jazz providing the energy regeneration needed to help maintaining her buff uptime easier. A standard layout of 4-piece Astral Voice and a 2-piece Swing Jazz has, at least in theory, the highest value in terms of team damage increase, but also requires you to make good use of her EX specials and ultimate, as well as other quick assist providing options to help maintaining Astral Voice's buff effectively. As for the main stats, a standard layout of crit rate in slot 4, fire damage or attack percent in slot 5, and energy regeneration or attack percent in slot 6 make for the best choices. I would recommend to prioritize energy regeneration over attack percent if you are running Astral Voice, simply because you will need the energy to actually have access to enough EX specials to maintain Astral Voice buffs effectively. If you're playing her in anomaly teams, prioritize anomaly proficiency in slot 4. For slot 5, since her Mindscapes X-Bores also trigger the spinning swings, which again have a pretty high multiplier, keep in mind you have to take this times 3, and her bores do inherit her attack, but not her fire damage, prioritize attack percent over fire damage can be a little bit of a slight damage gain. As for her substats, focus on attack until breakpoint, then crit values, and lastly flat attack and flat pen. Focus on anomaly proficiency instead of crit values if played with an anomaly team. Regarding her Mindscapes, her Mindscape 1 doesn't matter, her M2 allows her chain and ultimate to apply cheer on as well, which helps a little bit with the uptime. Her Mindscape 4 now increases the crit damage of allies under the cheer on buff by 10% as well, and her M6 has the World Burn. By that I mean whenever any ally uses their EX special while buffed with cheer on by Lucy, it will start raining guard bores, which deal significant fire damage and extend the duration of cheer on. This is not only very satisfying with continuous EX specials, but also essentially makes her cheer on buff uptime permanent. Furthermore, as already mentioned earlier, it also makes the bores trigger the spinning swing. I want to give a special shout out to her M3 and M5 here, as it massively lowers her attack requirements and makes building her much easier. This is however not as relevant for a well-equipped Lucy, and more so for newer players who don't have goated disk drives yet. Next up are her teams. Oh boy, sorry Mr. Editor. Lucy is so generic with a subpar additional core that she can easily fit into literally every single team possible, and because I don't want this guide to be 10 hours long talking about every single team in existence, I will just talk about a few teams here. Lucy works well in basically every anomaly team, and while she misses out on her additional core when paired with Miyabi, it is still a valid free-to-play choice if you cannot handle Nicole. She works especially well with Jane Bernice or Piper and Vivian, as not only her core is actually active, but physical on fire is often a shared enemy weakness while rarely being resistant to each other, which allows not only Lucy but also her bores to deal increased days and damage. Bernice's EX special also allows M6 Lucy to make it rain, which is just a pleasure to look at, and also actually kinda good. While physical DPS got kinda shafted, both Caesar and Pulchra allow Lucy to maintain her additional core while either buffing the on-field carry or providing off-field days, and again, her bores deal physical damage, so the damage and days inflicted by her bores is greater as well against physical weak enemies. Well, if they would actually exist in the game. As we are used to it by now, Lucy can serve as a great free-to-play option in the place of the likes of Astra, and because her additional core has now been adjusted, she works great with Yijuan as well. Also, reminder again, her ultimate provides energy and not adrenaline, which means that your Yijuan would not actually gain additional 20 adrenaline when you switch into her after using the ultimate. As I already said, there are many teams available for her, and it is kinda impossible to list all of them, so if I didn't mention your favorite team, I am sorry. Please let us know in the comments what your favorite team is. And lastly, let's talk about her pros and cons before we finish the video. Lucy is a very easy to play and also free to play accessible support. She does not require high levels of investment to work and is hence also pretty cheap to build. On the other hand, she is outclassed by the likes of Nicole and Astra, but Nicole especially is much harder to play and Astra is a premium option. We also need 3 supports for Deadly Assault, and with only currently 5 supports being in the game right now, she is often a preferred and sometimes maybe even needed unit for 9-star clears. Although this very much depends on your account obviously. She has many viable set choices, but her best set requires some management and practice to maintain uptime. And with that, we are at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet, join the Discord, a link is in the description, and I appreciate all of you. A special shout out to my Patreon members who make this kind of content possible. I wish you all a great day. Peace.